Today, inside a packed Manhattan federal courtroom brimming with tension, the veil lifted on what may be one of the most explosive celebrity criminal trials of the decade. Sean Diddy Combs, once the untouchable titan of hip-hop and fashion, mogul, faced the nation and jury in the opening salvo of his federal sex trafficking trial, and in a move no one anticipated this early, he took the stand. Courtroom murmurs erupted as Combs, flanked by elite defense attorneys Tenny Giragos and Mark Agnafilo, walked slowly to the witness box. Dressed in a slate gray suit and a soft navy tie, the 55-year-old appeared collected, steely, and determined to reclaim the narrative now spiraling out of his control. Diddy takes the stand. A strategy unfolds in a carefully coordinated legal maneuver. Diddy's decision to testify on day one shocked both legal observers and members of the press. Rarely does a defendant in a RICO and sex trafficking case speak so early, but according to defense counsel, this wasn't a misstep, it was a message. I'm not running from who I was, but I'm not the monster they painted either. Combs began, his voice resonating across the silent courtroom. This opening line set the tone, not one of denial, but a strategic accountability. Combs acknowledged his wild lifestyle, admitted to luxury excess, and even confessed to personal failings in relationships including with Cassandra Cassie Ventura. But he emphasized everything that happened behind closed doors was consensual. Messy, yes. Criminal, absolutely not. The freak-off revealed, myth or manipulation? The term freak-off has become synonymous with the Diddy case, an alleged code word for drug-laced sex parties featuring paid escorts, manipulated partners, and blackmail footage. Prosecutors argue that these events were orchestrated by Combs as tools of control and exploitation. But on the stand, Combs gave a jarringly different perspective. Those were parties. Everyone knew what they were walking into. Nobody was forced to do anything. He described them as consensual adult events. Hedonistic, yes, but not criminal. He claimed guests signed NDA letters, came willingly, and often returned. The phrase freak off, he testified, was an inside joke among his inner circle, later weaponized by disgruntled former lovers and opportunists. This counters the narrative put forth by prosecutors, who alleged that the events were used to sexually coerce and psychologically manipulate women, including Cassie, a central figure in the federal case, addressing the 2016 hotel video. Diddy's view, possibly the most damning piece of evidence entered so far, is a 2016 surveillance video showing Diddy violently dragging Cassie Ventura in a Los Angeles hotel hallway, kicking, pushing, and screaming. The prosecution introduced it within the first hour of the trial, leaving jurors visibly shaken. But Combs didn't dodge it. "That video haunts me," he said, lowering his head. "I was angry. She had been unfaithful, and I reacted in a way I will regret for the rest of my life." He admitted to shoving and screaming, but vehemently denied sexually coercing her before or after the incident. "We were in a toxic place, but that's not sex trafficking. That's a relationship gone wrong." His legal team leaned heavily on the distinction between personal violence, reprehensible, yes, and federal crimes involving force, fraud, or coercion for commercial sex acts. The money trail, business or exploitation. Combs also addressed the now infamous financial records tying Combs Global to payments for hotels, escorts, travel, and damage reimbursements following party-related outbursts. Prosecutors claim these links demonstrate that Diddy used corporate funds to bankroll a trafficking enterprise. In response, Diddy claimed these payments were a mix of personal reimbursements, NDA letters, and incidentals that often got muddied. In the books, it wasn't smart, but it wasn't criminal. "My businesses aren't pimps, they're companies. These expenses were never about exploitation." He admitted to blurring the lines between personal life and business expenses, something his accountants flagged eternally in 2019, but denied that there was a systemic effort to fund trafficking through corporate channels. Escort testimony undermined. Earlier that morning, male escort Daniel Phillip testified that he was hired by Cassie for an intimate encounter, but found himself performing sex acts in front of Diddy, who directed the interaction and paid him afterward. Phillip claimed the situation felt off and controlled. When cross-examined, Combs didn't deny knowing Phillip or witnessing the encounter, but he countered. He was paid well. He was not coerced. No one locked the door. No one made him stay. His testimony sought to neutralize the escort statement by casting it as a business transaction between consenting adults in the presence of another, further blurring the case's legal boundaries. Bribery allegations. The bag of cash thief has seen another revelation from day one. Involved a claim by hotel security officer Israel Flores, who testified that Combs attempted to silence him with a brown paper bag full of $100 bills. The implication, bribery to cover up the 2016 assault. On the stand, Diddy denied the story outright. That never happened. If I gave anyone a bag of money, it was a tip and I've given thousands of them in my life. He suggested Flores, now an LAPD officer, was fabricating for clout or under pressure from prosecutors. The defense also questioned why Flores waited nearly a decade to report the broadcasting doubt on motive and memory. The jury's reaction, silent but telling through the testimony. Jurors remained largely unreadable, but certain moments stood out. Several black female jurors winced during the hotel video playback. One male juror scribbled frantically during Diddy's breakdown over his shame. Three alternates nodded slightly as Combs spoke of gray zones and sex and power. These subtle cues may shape how Combs' words settle into the minds of those who will ultimately determine his fate. Legal analysts weigh in a risky, calculated movie appearing on national media outlets. Trial analysts called Diddy's decision to testify on day one unprecedented and dangerous, but potentially brilliant. By speaking early, he reframes the case emotionally and psychologically, said legal commentator Asha Banerjee. He's not denying bad behavior, he's denying criminal enterprise. Others warn that if jurors sense manipulation or overperformance, the move could backfire spectacularly. How this may affect the trial in his favor. Narrative control. Diddy now defines his own image, not just through counsel, but directly through his voice. Humanization, acknowledging flaws shows vulnerability, potentially building jury empathy. Legal framing, differentiating messy consent from coercion could soften the trafficking charges. Credibility chess, by countering witnesses immediately, he undercuts their momentum and sows doubt. Public pressure, his testimony may play to the media, shaping public opinion and shifting political dynamics surrounding high-profile prosecutions. Final word from the defendant as the judge called for recess. Diddy turned once more to the jurors, pausing before speaking. I'm here because I'm ready to face what's true and not what's twisted. And with that, the mogul sat down. Next in court, Cassie to testify Tuesday. Court reconvenes tomorrow with expected testimony from Cassie Ventura, Diddy's longtime ex and the woman at the center of many of the prosecution's most serious claims. Want to follow the case in real time.